going on, guys? It's Jay here, and we're back with another video. In this one, we're going to be going over a few things, main ones being the new Fusion that has been announced and my thoughts on whether or not you should go for the Fusion, and also going over the whole new guaranteed champion after 110. Yes, 110 Void Shards. Now, let's start off with the new Fusion here as I bring it up right here. Adjusting it on the fly. Give me 2 secs. There we go. Alrighty, I mean, as you can see with this new Fusion, it doesn't look too bad in my opinion. You have the A1 that books up to a 100% chance to landing a decreased speed. And then if another new champion, I'm assuming an old 10 of the shell, is on the team, it cannot be resisted. Obviously, decreased speed is always super handy in most PvE content when it comes to defeating the bosses mostly, but just in general, it can be very helpful. An A2, which heals allies by 30% of their max HP, which is, you would prefer it on a support champion to be 30% of like OL's max HP and not 30% of the champion's max HP. But it's still not bad. It feels always not bad. And increases duration of all ally buffs for a turn, which obviously comes in super handy in a lot of content. Things like clan boss, some teams it's handy to have buff extension. Even in Hydra, buff extension's handy. Buff extension in general is actually one of those things that's super handy all around. And then an A3 that can book down to a 3-turn cooldown that fills the turn meter of all allies by 30% and also places a 50% increased resistance. Turn meter feels always nice. Increased resistance, I don't think has much use yet. Let me know if I am wrong, but I've yet to really see any real increased resistance. Granted, there isn't a lot of champions with increased resistance yet. There's only, I think, 3 Legos, including Oella, that I know of that have increased resistance. But yeah, and then also has an increased ally resistance in dungeons by 75% on the aura, and the passive is when an ally loses 50% or more of their max HP in a single hit, places a continuous heal buff on an ally for a turn, and then places 15% continuous heal buff for 2 turns on an ally, and then instantly activates it if all 10 is on the same team. Can only occur once on an ally per turn. Now, what are my thoughts on Oella here? I think she's decent. I don't think she will end up being top tier or amazing or anything like that. I personally am not gonna go for her. I'm kind of just out of shards and all that. If I quickly on the spot we get rid of that, and I literally have no shards. I've been having to pull off clan vs clan, and also obviously the Pythion Fusion the other day. I was having the other weeks I had to pull off for him, and just those 2 plus the 2x on Sacreds completely and utterly have starved me of shards for now. However, from what I've heard, she will be a classic fusion, which means there will be epics to go along with her. So I might say some stuff and go for one of the epics if any of the epics are decent. Now, what else do we have to cover here? Just because I want to. Well, we also have something else has been mentioned, which is a guaranteed champion for 110 Void Shards in, give me a sec, Chagger. Now, I personally think he's a solid champion, but 110 Void Shards is a little bit steep, especially if we quickly go to the shop here. And we just, we look for it, right? About $46 or AUD here for a single Void Shard. Granted, obviously offers and stuff will change that, but that's a lot of money. Obviously, the more you get, the less it costs, but still, nevertheless, that's a lot of money to spend on some void shards just to be able to get a guaranteed champion. So I don't think it's worth your money. Now, what does Shagger do? A1, he has a good chance of placing in sleep, which makes him kind of decent for give me a sec. It makes him pretty decent for the Sand Devils, but a lot of people are running 2-man teams for that, so it's not really exactly needed. He's A2, places poisons and decreased defense, which are always decent for things like Clan Boss. And then he's A3. If the target is under poison debuffs, will ignore shields, block damage, and unkillables. Grants an extra turn if it kills an enemy. Obviously, can be decent for other parts of the game. I've seen him used in Arena. He's not really like gold tier Arena, but like he can be decent and pretty fun. He's passive that instantly attacks enemies with default skill whenever they receive damage from poison debuffs. So pretty much against something like a Clan Boss, he's consistently counter-attacking due to his passive. And then he also has an aura of ally attacks at battle 33%. Now, do I recommend going for a Chagger on the guaranteed summon rates? Or the guaranteed summon? Personally, no. Although he's decent, I don't think you can justify spending money on 110 void shards to get a Chagger. I could barely, like, even for like a Marichka or a Baron, even for that, if I had 110 void shards, that's a lot of void shards to be pulling. Even if it was guaranteed for like those two or the Mytha or not a Demytha, a Krizia and all that. It's just a lot of void shards to be opening for those champions, and I just don't think it's worth it. To go along with that guaranteed champion, there's also going to be 10x's for certain champions. If you quickly go, one of them will obviously be Deacon Armstrong, which is here with his Leech on the A1, decreased defense on the A2, and Terminator Phil on the A3 with the extra turn. There's also on that list, you got Mr. Daffy. As you see here, I haven't got him. I don't really know what he does, but you see, removes a random debuff on the A1, decreased defense on the A2, increased attack and accuracy on the A3 with a accuracy aura and all battles by 40, which isn't that bad. You also have one of the main people you usually used to see in Arena and still do in Madame Ceres. Has a fear on the A1, but the main reason you'd be using her really would be for this decreased attack, decreased defense after removing all buffs from the enemy. And she also has A2 here, which blocks debuffs and true fears on all allies and all that. And then also the passive that places a shield. Now, obviously, should be amazing to get during this 10x. But I don't really recommend pulling on a 10x, especially when there's nothing more to pull for. So yeah, the last epic you have on this list is another solid one in Stag Knight, who's good for PvE content. Because he's got a decreased speed on the A1, which is again helpful for the bosses. He has a decreased defense and decreased attack on the A2, which again is very helpful for bosses. And then an increased accuracy on an ally for 1 turn each time a debuff is resisted, which can be helpful if, say, you just don't have enough gear to get enough accuracy. Now, getting into the Legos here, the first one I'm going to mention is your boy Herndig, with that fucking crazy hairdo. He attacks he attacks once on his A1, extra turn, and decreases the cooldown of, I guess, the A3. The A2 does decrease defense, decrease accuracy, and the A3 does weaken and HP burns. You're probably getting the idea here that a lot of these champions do decrease defense, or if not all of these champions do decrease defense. So the next champion that we're going to be mentioning here is Mitcher. I don't even know how to say it, Michinaki. I believe it how it is. Does HP burn on the A1, which HP burn on the A1 is always nice. Decrease defense, attack, and hex all on the decrease defense and decrease attack on the A2 for enemies that are under hex, and then places hex on the A3 with passive that whenever an ally attacks an enemy under hex, this champion has a 50% chance of teaming up to join the ally attack, which means 50% of the time he's placing a burn on on someone with these allied attack. Now the next one I want to mention here is Ursuga. I don't have one, wouldn't mind one, but I don't got boys in the pool, and even if I did, I'd prefer to save them for potentially getting a couple of epics in the fusion. Now the A1 blocks active skills, pretty solid. A2 decreases crit damage, attack speed, and decrease defense. That's a lot to decrease, and it makes it very, very well. And she does ally protection and strength on A3, which is why she is very handy for arena defense in particular. Decent for arena offense, but arena defense she is really, really good due to how bulky she is. The last champion here that we have to speak about is this one right here in Ragash. Pretty cool looking champion, if I do say so myself, but again, increased defense on the A1. So decrease defense, increase defense on A1, decrease defense and stuns on the A2, and then strength and increase speed of perfect veil on A3. Then a passive that at the start of each turn places a perfect veil. Now, that is all the 10x champions to go along with the Chagga 110 guaranteed. Now, and I know a lot of people have already covered all of that, and I leave that down to time zones. So I know I'm a little bit late to covering this, but it's fine. Obviously a lot of people are not happy with the 110, and I mean, I don't think there's a reason to be happy about it, but yeah. So with all that being said, do I recommend summoning for Chagga or the 110? Not real, like, or any of the 10x's, not really. I'd say hold on to your shards if you're interested in going for Oella, or even going for any of the epics that may be with Oella instead of just going for the Lego itself. Now, do I think Oella's worth going for? I'd say personally, it depends on where you're at. If you happen to have the shards to go for Oella, with the potential summon rush that would happen with her and all of that, and then by all means, I feel free to go for her. I don't think she's going to be bad. I just don't think she's going to be amazing at the same time. Personally, I'm not going to go for her just because I don't have the shards, but I will be interested in going for one of the epics that are along with her in case they are decent themselves. I'll probably release a video when it's all announced about the epics and say which one I think's worth going for, if any. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, notifications on, follow the Twitch, linked in the description, and I'll catch you in the next one.